What's up, guys? This is Thomas Edwards, creator of The Intentional Self and founder of the Professional Wingman. I want to welcome you to Weekly Intention. The Weekly Intention shares personal stories of my life, the trials, tribulations, and the triumphs that come with it, and the lessons called gifts that you can learn so you can apply it to your life with intention. The sun is finally out here in sunny Los Angeles, and I just got back actually from a week in Boston. And for many of you guys know that Boston is my hometown. Grew up there, and anytime I go to Boston, I get a lot of feels just from memories growing up. Memories from my first few adult years when I was post grad, and memories of what Boston was like when I was building my business and connecting with people. And my mind started to go around the things that I did and the things that were done to me. And it's really interesting, oftentimes we tend to focus on the things that were done to us and not so much the things that we did. And I know personally for me, I realized a lot of that was just based on a victim mentality. And this is a common mentality that a lot of people tend to pick up when they feel like life is out of control. They don't have an ability to control their fate, so to speak, and oftentimes things just happen to them. And when you play the victim mentality, there's also a lot of excuses that come with it. Oh, like I totally would have gone out, but it was raining all day, so I didn't want to go to the gym. Or, if I was in a better environment, or if I was at a better company, I would make more money, or I'd be promoted a lot more often. Or, if I was in the right environment, the right place, at the right time, I'd be able to go and talk to her, and it would have been totally okay. And oftentimes, when we put the blame on someone else or something else, it allows us to be absolved from responsibility, right? We tend to think, well, I'm not responsible for this happening, and so there was nothing that I could have done to change the result or change the outcome, and there's nothing that I can do about it now. And oftentimes, and listen, I was there a lot playing the victim card in my life. Whether things did happen to me or not, I was always the victim. If it didn't work out my way, then I wasn't responsible. That means life happened to me. If something did work out, I would totally take credit for it, right? I'd be like, yeah, that was me. I totally did it. And what I learned was a key thing about playing the victim comes along with this quote, where when something happens to me, or something or someone needs to come in and fix it. Let's say you don't get the outcome that you desired, and you play the victim card. You play the victim card on both sides, right? You don't take responsibility for the outcome that took place, but then you also don't take responsibility for what you can do to overcome or to change the outcome on the next try, or to make your situation better. Now you're expecting, because you're a victim and something happened to you, you want something or someone to come in and fix it, right? You want to be the victim again, but just in a positive outcome. And the problem with being a victim, and the one thing that I've learned about being in victimhood is, yeah, it absolves you from responsibility, but it also absolves you from seeing your own solution. You don't see the possibility that you can, or the ability that you can actually fix the problem yourself. And instead you're looking outwardly, just as you were when you were blaming others, blaming external forces for your shortcomings or not getting the outcome that you want. And the reality is, you are the reason where you are right now, where you are. You can always point the blame, and that's just going to end up being storytelling that you're going to play yourself to make you feel better. But all that does is it takes away responsibility, and it takes away power and control away from you, when you're the one that has the ultimate power and ability to actually change the outcome. Now, I'm not saying that, there are unfortunate circumstances where things just do happen and you can't control it or you can't overcome it, and that just happens. At the same time, you don't want to live your life constantly waiting for external forces to just align just so you can come out on top, just so you can be the victor or the hero. You want to be able to take more responsibility for the things that you do. Now, of course, like I said, you can blame others or look externally for things, but it's ultimately your actions or your inactions and your decisions or your indecisions that have led you to where you are today. That's it. And so you have a choice at this point. You can choose to continue to play the victim and just let things happen to you and blame others, or you can start to make some decisions, take some actions, and take more control over what you can do to change the outcome. And that's the great thing about it, is that you can take responsibility from this point moving forward. That was something that I had to figure out myself, is how do I take more responsibility in my life so I can start to see what are some things that I can do to change my current position. And so that leads me to the lesson of today, which is essentially the moment you take responsibility for where you are in your life is the moment you'll have the power and ability to change your life. And this was something that took very, very long time for me to understand and actually implement. You know, you hear about this idea of being responsible, right? I'm sure your parents may have told you to learn how to become a responsible adult, right? Or are we raised to be a responsible adult? What happened to you? And you don't really understand responsibility in such a way that really holds true to you. But what it really is just taking ownership of all the things that have led you to where you are today. And knowing that if you take responsibility of the things that have happened, you'll be much more able to take responsibility for the things that can and will happen if you choose to take action and make decisions on your own, as opposed to waiting for things or life forces to take place. Now, I know when it comes to, you know, me living my life intentionally, and I look at my zones of love, lifestyle, leadership, and legacy, I had to take an unapologetic, realistic look at where I was at and taking responsibility for that. You know, I had a huge role in the lack of connection that I was having with my wife, and just the bad times that we were having. I played a huge role in that. And it wasn't until I took that responsibility that I got to see, wait, like, yeah, things are pretty shitty right now, but I could also make them really good. And just making that simple switch and making the decision and then adding actions to it allowed us to reconnect and to just be happy together and to love our lives together. When it came to my lifestyle, just realizing that, wow, like I just allowed myself to be around people who were just holding me back, who were letting me be small, think small, live small. And making a conscious choice to say, listen, like I'm responsible for people in my life, so let me just choose people who have bigger aspirations, who are hungry like I am, who want connection like me, and see how my life changes. And my lifestyle completely shifted. And I discovered that a lot of the people who are out there hungry, going after it, they wake up early. So guess what I do every day? I wake up early. You know, a lot of people who are very disciplined in their craft and disciplined and committed to what they need to get accomplished during the day, they're not out every night and they're not out late. And so what am I doing? I'm in bed by like 10 o'clock most nights, you know? And so being around those people has really changed my lifestyle and has made it for the better. When it comes to leadership and how I'm showing up in the world, not just in my career as a coach, although that's improved significantly, I've taken a lot more ownership of not just the problems and the challenges that my clients have, but also the potential outcomes that they can have if they were to actually follow my strategy. And what I realized, that I wasn't taking enough ownership of my strategy. I just assumed that if I just gave it to them, it would work. But it's more than that. And so taking more ownership has allowed me to show up even more in my clients' lives and in such a way that creates these disproportionate outcomes that you don't normally see when you work with a coach. And then when it came to leadership in my life, stepping up and making choices for myself, being an activist for my own life has led other people to rally and support and be around me. Being vulnerable, sharing myself with you guys is an act of leadership. I allow myself to be open and to be powerful and to be responsible, to let you know that you're never alone in these battles, and there are people who are going through who might be a few steps ahead of you, and you should seek their mentorship and to seek their advice and hear what they have to say about the world that you're about to take on. And of course, legacy. I think about my daughter, and I think about the impact I want on the world. I have to take ownership of that and what I've been able to do and what I want to do. And when I was able to really bring that together, it allowed me to see things in such a clear way that all my actions, all my decisions everything that I do is based on the clarity around the impact that I want to have on the world. But it couldn't have happened this way if I didn't take responsibility for the decisions or lack of decisions, or the actions or lack thereof that led me to where I was at that moment. And so what I want to ask you is, where in your love, lifestyle, leadership, and legacy do you find yourself not taking responsibility for where you are in that area? If you're still single and you're struggling, like, where are you not taking responsibility in that part? Or if you're not as far in your career as you'd hoped, or you're not making as much money as you'd hoped, or you're not making kind of impact on the world or in your community, or the people that you want to be with in your life aren't there, where are you not taking responsibility? What are you trying to blame others for when it's really on you why you are where you are? And what is your intention to start taking that responsibility so you can start changing your life, so you can start seeing possibilities that you have control over, that you can actually do something about? And I will tell you guys, the moment you take responsibility for what you've done is the moment you'll have power and ability and responsibility for what you can do moving forward. It seems very fundamental, it seems very simple, but it's very challenging. It's a huge challenge. It's very, very challenging for some people to take responsibility. I can speak from personal experience. Sometimes we don't want to take responsibility, especially for the bad stuff. I mean, who wants to take responsibility for the bad stuff? We would love to take responsibility for the things that are great in our lives, and we always do. But when things aren't working out the way we hope, we tend to look to blame others, when the reality is we are avoiding the one person who actually has full control over their lives, which is you. And while that might be a tough pill to swallow, what's a great thing on the other end is that you have the ability to change your life moving forward if you take the responsibility to do so. And these are the kind of conversations I have with my clients all the time. And if you're interested, or you're just wondering about, now, man, I'm taking responsibility for this, now I don't know what to do. I want to take responsibility moving forward, but how do I do that? Well, let's have a conversation. Just go to thomasedwardsjr.com/talk, and we'll talk about what are some really strategic ways you can start not only taking responsibility, but making decisions and taking actions that support that responsibility so you can lead a life with intention and have an amazing life. So, hope this was helpful for you. Until the next time, this is Thomas Edwards saying, keep it simple, be amazing, and live intentionally.